Jada, where are you? Oh.
Are you okay?
I think so. I'm scared, Jada.
I am too. What happened to us? What's going on? What are those books?
I don't know. What is this place? Where are we? Why isn't there anybody else around? Where is everybody else at?
I don't know. Everything's fuzzy.
It's too far down.
Can't think. What about Nia and Laura? Weren't they in the car with us? Where are they?
I don't know. Remember we were in the restaurant, and you were driving down the road, and are you sure you didn't have too much to drink at dinner tonight?
No, I was driving, and then I just can't remember anything.
Help! Anybody!
Please,
Help us!
help us!
Is anybody out there?
Help us!
Please, have a seat, and your advocate will be with you shortly.
Where are we? Who are you?
What are we doing here?
Please, have a seat, and your advocate will be with you shortly.
What do you mean, advocate? Why do we need an advocate?
Why won't you tell us?
Please, have a seat, and your advocate will be with you shortly.
Holly, I guess we better have a seat. Maybe this advocate person can help us. She obviously doesn't know anything.
Oh, she knows. She just doesn't care.
Hello, ladies. I'm your advocate. It's a pleasure to meet you both. I'll be helping you out here today.
Where are we? What's going on?
Well, you see, you both have passed away, and when everyone dies, they must come to this room.
What? We're dead?
Now, please.
No, I can't be dead. What about Tim and the kids? No, I can't be dead.
Listen, please.
No.
Please sit. Please, have a seat. Relax. Now, didn't my secretary tell you? She didn't explain anything to you.
How did this happen?
Well, let's see here. Oh, here we are. You were both out together with friends, having a wonderful ladies' night out, when apparently there was a terrible accident on the way home from dinner. Huh. I'm sure you never saw that light change. It happened so fast.
So, is this heaven? Have we died and gone to heaven? Because things were nicer in heaven.
No, this isn't heaven. This is the waiting room. This is where everyone goes to have their case presented before the judge.
Judge? What judge? I don't see any.
Don't worry, he's here. He's always here.
What judge?
Well, the judge, the one and only.
Do you mean God?
That would be him. You see, everyone must give an account for their lives. Stand before him and give that account. But it's all written in that third book over there.
What are those books for anyway?
Well, let's see here. Let's start with this. This is the third book that I had mentioned. This is called the Book of Remembrance. Everything is recorded in that. He knows everything. Every word you speak, every thought from deep within, all goes into this book.
He knows everything?
I'm afraid so. In fact, the reason for every activity, every action, will be disclosed in this hearing today to determine your reward.
Well, what are the other two books about?
Well, the first one here, this is the Book of Books. This has all of his words in it. But you probably know it better as the Bible. And then that book there is the Lamb's Book of Life.
Wow, it's so much bigger than the other two.
It sure is, isn't it? Well, now, ladies, we really must get going. We must present your lives before the judge so that he can determine your, how should I put it, your proper positions.
You mean like the reward things in the books?
Sure, something along those lines. Now, I'll tell you what. We need to get going. We need to get started. So, which one of you would like to go first?
Jada, I don't think I can do this. I am so scared. Will you please go first?
I don't know. It's happening so fast. I just want to wake up and for it all to be gone. I don't know.
Please, I just can't. Advocate, can we go together?
No, I'm sorry. Each person must stand before him and give an account for their own actions.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first. I've always been more adventurous.
Very good. Now, Jada, I don't want you to worry about a thing. Everything's going to work out just fine. This is going to be an open-closed case, I assure you. Now, I've got everything I need here. So, let's get going. Now, please, relax. Trust me. I do this all the time.
Okay, I trust you.
Very good. Now, is there anything that you want to add? Anything that you want me to tell the judge before we get going?
Well, just be sure to include all the good things I did in my life. I always tried to make it to church. I was there every Christmas, and especially on Easter. And, you know, sometimes life just got in the way. With 2 kids, there was always something going on. I'm just glad I don't have 5 kids, like the Schoonemans. I don't know how they do it. There's football and baseball and basketball, mock trial, play practice, and I tried to go to all the kids' activities. And I was a good person. I donated to New Hope, and I gave blood. And I tried to keep those commandment thingies. I never killed anyone.
Well, that's a plus.
I don't steal, except for maybe the occasional paperclip from the office. And everybody tells a little itty-bitty fib any once in a while, so that doesn't count. So yeah, go ahead and plead my case. I think I did okay.
Very good. Very good. Have a seat here. Now, I'm going to make your presentation here. Relax. Take a deep breath. Everything's going to go fine. Now, first, I'm going to have the bailiff come in and swear you in. Bailiff?
Please put your left hand on the book, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. Do you swear that the words today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you him?
I certainly do.
Your Honor, this is the case of Jada Renee Stevenson, born August 2nd, 1972, to Ann and Charles Stevenson. Now, Your Honor, her early years were sweet and innocent, and they were filled with all of the things that a young girl would love. But in her teen years, her parents separated and divorced. Now, at first, everything was fine. She took to the separation and the divorce just fine. She played the role for both parents, but then she started to follow after her friends and the things that they were doing. She discovered drugs and alcohol as a means of escaping her shattered home life. And at the same time, she was discovering her body and the boys who took an interest in it. But then along comes Bobby. Good old Bobby. Bobby who said that he would love her forever. But Bobby just didn't stick around for very long. But Your Honor, you can't hold that against Jada. You can't blame her for that. For you know, there would be many, many more Bobbies to come as time went by. But then, she met Tim. And Tim really did love her. And they started a wonderful life together. They went dancing, they went to the beach, they went camping. They had all sorts of common interests. And then Jada became pregnant with her first child. And then they had a wonderful marriage. Well, of course, you know you were there. But after that, Your Honor, things began to change and change quickly. You see, Tim became consumed with work, and the bills started to pile up, and then they started to argue and fight almost every day. And the days that they weren't arguing and fighting, well, then they just weren't speaking at all. So there you have it, Your Honor. Jada began to slide back into the things that she knew were comfortable, the things that she knew would help her ease the pain, just like she did when her parents split. But then again, things changed. When she met who would become her very best friend, Holly. Your Honor, they became inseparable, so much so that they even showed up today at the hearing together. They did everything together. Holly invited Jada to church, and Jada became involved in all sorts of activities in church, and they volunteered together for all sorts of groups and activities. And in fact, it was at one of those volunteer activities that Jada had made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. So there you see, Your Honor, things were really looking good. Looking the way that she had always hoped that they would. She had a husband that was hardworking. She had 2 beautiful kids, and now her very own best friend. Now, as I said, they had done everything together. They went everywhere together. But there was a problem with that, Your Honor. You see, after a fun day out together, after an excellent evening of movies or dinner or whatever the case may be, Jada always had to go back home. And there, Your Honor, is when life really started to get in the way. You see, her kids were always involved in all sorts of activities, but what were they? I wrote them down here. Oh, yes, here they are. We have horseback riding, play practice, scouts, football, softball, basketball, soccer, volleyball, baseball, speech, mock trial. Your Honor, this list goes on and on and on. So you can see that this obviously placed a lot of stress on Jada's life. And she began to feel like she was raising her kids all alone because, well, Tim was always at work. Now that was all right too, because then along comes, let me see here. What was his name? Oh, it doesn't matter. All that matters was that he was always there to listen and help support her needs, whatever they may be. So there again, started to slide back into those comfortable things, those things that she knew would help her ease the pain. She even started making excuses to Holly as to why they couldn't hang out together. And, well, Holly just couldn't understand. But I want to make it clear, Your Honor, that through it all, Jada remained faithful to go to church whenever she could make it, especially on those important dates like Christmas and Easter. So there you have it, Your Honor, the case of Jada Renee Stevenson. And you already know what my recommendation is. I now leave this in your worthy hands. Jada, everything went swimmingly, just the way it should go. So I want you to sit here, relax. I'm going to be back in just a moment with your verdict, all right?
What? What was that? You were blowing me off so you could go see some other guy? So you could go drinking? What? Why didn't you talk to me about that, Jada? Why didn't you come and let me help you? What good was that? I mean, I know your life was a mess before we met, and things weren't always great at home, but you changed. I mean, you remember that day that we went up to the altar and we prayed together, and you gave your life to Christ? I know that you changed. I could see the difference in you when we hung out.
It's just not fair. That's not how I thought it would be presented.
I know, but that shouldn't matter now. You changed. You are a wonderful friend, and I was there that day. Everything will be okay.
It's just not fair.
Well, I have your verdict.
Don't worry, everything will be okay.
Let's see. In the case of the highest court versus Jada Renee Stevenson, well, this is odd. Are you sure that, now, this isn't usually how it works out, this is what, very well. Jada Renee Stevenson, you've been found guilty, condemned for all eternity to the lake of fire.
No! You didn't present her case right! You didn't tell him about when she went to the altar and prayed and gave her life to Christ! And you didn't tell him about her name being in that book, the book of life. I know it's in here. It has to be in here. James Stevens, Kay Stevens, Bobby Stevenson, Michael Stevenson.
Holly, stop.
Robert Stevenson.
Holly.
Eric Stewart. It's not in here. I don't understand. What's going on, Jada? I was there. I was there that day that you knelt at the cross and you prayed and you gave your life to Christ.
But I didn't really mean it. I just said it because I thought that's what you wanted to hear. You were so sincere and passionate about your beliefs. I wanted to believe, but more than anything, I just wanted to make you happy.
I don't understand.
Jada, I'm sorry, but your time is up.
What?
You really must
What?
leave.
No!
No! Jada, no! No, Jada, I love you! No,
Holly, you need to let her go. Now, you've done all that you can for her. You need to let her go and face the consequences for her actions. Now, you didn't force her to do those things. Those were her knows everything. He even knows the intent of the heart. Now, I don't know what she was thinking. Maybe she thought she had more time. I don't know, but whatever the case may be.
But you were her advocate. There has to be something you could do for her. You were supposed to make this all go away.
Holly, listen. I can only present what's written in those books over there. I can't change them once we're in the waiting room. Please.
But she was my friend. Don't you understand?
Yes, I do understand. Please, come over here and have a seat. I need you to get over yourself. I need you to focus now. I need your help. It's time to present your case now. Now, is there anything that you want me to add before I talk to the judge on your behalf?
It doesn't matter. She was my friend.
Holly, please. This is your time now. You need to concentrate and help me out on this. What would you like me to add?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Very well. Holly, you leave me no choice. I will have to make this presentation as I see fit. Bailiff.
Please place your left hand on the book and raise your right hand. Repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that the case be presented for you today?
Just stop.
Again, please place your left hand on the book and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that the case being presented for you today is the truth, the whole truth?
It doesn't matter.
All right, kid. Well, I guess you're on your own on this one today.
Your Honor, this is the case of Holly Marie Jenkins, born July 29, 1977. To loving parents Joy and Matthew Jenkins. Your Honor, Holly was brought up in a good Christian home. You see, her father was the pastor of a very large church. Her mother was the secretary of that church. And from the very beginning, she was indoctrinated into your way of life. She had everything that a young girl could love. And at the age of 7, she realized, because it all became clear, that she wanted to dedicate her entire life to you. So she sang in the church choir. She was very active in the church youth group. She never missed a Sunday service or a church event. She was always there. She went on countless mission trips, all of them teaching the true value of dependency and trust in you. And she was an exceptional student. She spent many years in college receiving her medical degree. So there again, you can see that she had everything that a young girl could want or need. But Your Honor, you see, it was after college that she began to wonder how life had gotten away from her. You see, all of her friends were married, and some of them even had kids. So she began to wonder, was she not good enough? After all, she had worked hard for so many years to achieve success. And wasn't that what her parents wanted of her? Wasn't it her parents that she was trying to please? Now, don't get me wrong. She had a wonderful relationship with her parents. They were so proud of their little Holly all grown up. She was a topic of all their conversations. They just loved to put her on display. But Your Honor, Holly was feeling as if she just wasn't good enough. Maybe that's why she was still single. After all, she saw how people looked at her. She heard the whispers. Maybe they were right. Maybe there was something wrong with her. Maybe she wasn't the marriageable type. She was so jealous of her friend Jada. She had a family. Now that may not have been ideal, it may not have been perfect, but at least it kind of gave her life some meaning. So with the jealousy and seeing how her friends had everything, she took a good long look at herself and wondered, how can I get what they have? How can I look like the girls in the magazines or in the movies? So, with that in mind, she became obsessed with her appearance. She became obsessed with the clothes that she wore and her weight. Now that started out easily enough and simply enough. She just wouldn't finish her meals. But then she soon realized that wasn't going to work, because then she would be always hungry. So she started to eat more. And the more she ate, the more hungry she became, and she just ate and ate and ate. So with that in mind, even though she knew with all of her medical degrees and all the knowledge that she had that it was unhealthy and that it wasn't right, that it would hurt her, she but always eventually end up running to the restroom after those big meetings.
That's not true. You're twisting the facts.
Now, Holly, I gave you a chance to help me out. Please, have a seat, please. Let me finish this up here. I'm sorry, Your Honor. You know how emotional women can be. Where was I? Oh, here we are. Now, the more she became obsessed with her appearance, the more she thought about the stories that her friend Jada had told her and the people at the clinic that she treated. Is it possible that the pills could really stop and ease the pain? Or would it be more simple if she just took them all? You see, her father was way too busy with things at church to really care, love her, and help her through this difficult time. And she knew that as an adult woman with a life of her own, her mother would never understand.
I never thought that. That's not true.
Holly, please, you refused to help me. This is my case to make. Please, be quiet. One more chapter, Your Honor. Along comes Jim. And Jim was so good at complimenting her and telling her how well she measured up. And then one week, well, you remember this weekend, the weekend that he mustered up the courage to ask her out. They had a wonderful time. They went to dinner, they went to a movie, they laughed and talked for hours. It was a wonderful evening. And then Jim walked her to her front door. And the whole time, Your Honor, he's telling her just how beautiful and perfect she is. Well, Holly just didn't want this most perfect evening to end. So then she invited him in, and they went to her bedroom.
That's enough. I've had enough. I can't take any of this more. I demand my verdict right now.
Holly, please. This is now my case to make, and you're not helping at all.
No, stop. Please, I can't take it anymore.
Very well. That's the way you want it. So, there you have it, Your Honor. The case of Holly Marie Jenkins. You already know what my verdict is, and my recommendation. So now I leave everything in your worthy hands.
It will be okay, dear. Your case has been well presented. Stay calm, stay seated, and don't worry.
Don't worry? Don't worry? I just saw my best friend drug off to hell.
Mute Darren real fast. Which one is he?
Lord, you know that I have always trusted and loved you.
Okay.
Yes, there were times that things came into my life that I couldn't handle on my own. But I always put them in your hands. Because I always remembered that you said you would always provide an escape for every temptation. I've always believed that Jesus died for my sins. And I've always confessed with my mouth and believed in my heart that Jesus Christ is Lord. And I have lived for the day that he would say to me, "Well done, good and faithful servant." And so, Lord, just as I did in my lifetime, I place all of my faith and trust in you. And I give you my life to do with as you please.
Holly, I have your verdict here. If you would have just let me finish your case, I think we could have done much, much better. In the case of the highest court versus Holly Marie Jenkins, you've been found... What? This isn't right. This is a mistake. You've been found innocent. Washed by the blood of the Lamb? Now this isn't right. You and I, we had a deal. You told me that there was none righteous, not one. You told me that no one seeks after you. You said it out of your own mouth.
Wait a minute. I recognize that voice.
What?
Yeah, it was you.
She says you're not
Yeah,
pretty enough.
it was you. You're the one who told me that I was pretty and that I was fat
Oh.
and I didn't measure up.
Don't be ridiculous.
That was you.
Take that
And
one.
you're the one who told me that my daddy didn't love me and didn't have time for me.
Now, I don't know
And that
what...
my mom wouldn't understand.
Listen,
That was always you. You were whispering those things in my ear, screaming them at me sometimes.
how could I whisper and scream in your ear?
And at night, with the pills. Like, I didn't even remember that I had them. You put those in my hand. You
Now, this
told
is-
me nobody would miss
You
me.
were being
And
silly.
that everybody would be better off. Swallow them all. That's what you said.
You can't can't blame this on me.
And that night with Jim, you were there. That was you telling me to bring him into my house and let him into my room. But I didn't do those things.
But you wanted to.
But I didn't do them. You're the one filling my head with low self-esteem, self-pity, and depression. You're the one who was always trying to get me to turn away from the things that I knew in my heart were right. But I gave my life to him because of what he did for me.
Him? You never cared anything about him. All you wanted to do was live your life for you. To go out and have a good time. No cares, no worries. Just like your friend Jada.
No.
Yes.
I gave my life to him because he gave his life for me.
Him? Ah! You don't even know him. Were you there when I led all of heaven in worship? You weren't there when I led thousands of angels down to earth to establish my kingdom. My kingdom. You weren't there when I tempted him 3 times in the desert. You weren't there when I beat him nearly to death, and they laughingly mocked him, and I turned all of his people against him. You weren't there when I pierced his brow with his precious crown. You weren't there when I made him carry his own cross, and you weren't there when I lifted him up on that cross to die, cursed on that tree for everyone to see. You weren't there when I dragged his body down to hell, and I danced on his grave.
That you weren't looking close enough. I was on his mind before the foundation of this world. And I was the hurt in his heart when sin entered the world. And I was the joy in his heart that brought him to earth to sacrifice. I was the reason that he was tortured by his people. I was the reason that he was beaten, dragged, spit upon, and hung. And I'm the reason that spit upon and hung on that cross, and I was the sparkle in his eye when he hung on that cross.
No.
While he hung on that cross, I was the only thing he saw. He wasn't even thinking about you. He did that for me, to save me from the likes of you.
This is not right. This is not how it's supposed to be.
I'm the reason that he rose from the grave, the place you couldn't keep him. And I'm the reason that he lives today.
No.
I am stronger than you because of him who lives in me.
No. This isn't right. This is not fair. No.
You're wrong. It is fair. This is why I was called. Because Christ suffered, leaving me an example that I should follow in his footsteps. When they hurled their insults, he did not retaliate. And when he suffered, he made no threats. Instead, he entrusted himself to the one who judges justly. He himself bore our sins on his body on that tree, so that we might die to sin and live for righteousness. By his wounds, I have been healed. I was like a sheep gone astray. But now I have returned to my shepherd and the overseer of my soul.
No.
So it is fair, because he is a God of love and of mercy and of